This video is brought to you by PIXELSPINACH.com. PIXELSPINACH.com. Muscle for your media. Muscle for your memories.
Thank you for joining us, everybody, at PIXELSPINACH.com. This is part 2 of a 3-part series for our starter presentations or overviews. This one is on video editing and processing needs. Hopefully you've already seen part 1, field-ready equipment. Now we're doing editing and processing, of course. We also have one on data management and backup, which would be the third in the 3-part series. We also have the buyer's guides for all 3 of these starter presentations, as well as an ongoing growing menu of video tutorials, all found on the PIXELSPINACH.com website. Just some reminder disclosures, especially for those who've already seen the part 1. We cater to the beginner or the frustrated beginner or frustrated intermediate. We are not a product review service. There's plenty of sources out there on the internet for that. We are not the best or most technologically advanced, and we're at peace with that. But what we do know is how to get things done. We do know what works. We're all about getting it done and showing you how to get it done. So, having said that, let's get it done. And just so we get this in here, anything you see or hear about should be available at PIXELSPINACH.com, our website. So whether you're coming here on YouTube or Vimeo or wherever, you can find all the resources and things we mention here and more at PIXELSPINACH.com. I want to go ahead and get another important disclosure right up front for Mac or Macintosh. I am not a Mac user. So having said that, the only software application that I can recommend is the Adobe platform, whether it's Elements 10 or Premiere Pro CS5, if that even has a Mac platform, I'm not certain. That's the only program that I've used that may be available on Mac that I could recommend. But I think most everything I show you in here can work on Mac, but I'm going to get very specific on some hardware that is designed primarily for Windows-based PCs. I'm sorry I'm not going to be much more help, but typically you guys are more advanced. You have great software, better than what I'm probably going to show you, and I just want to get that out front. This is primarily Windows-based, PC-focused. Thanks. At this current recording, it is, might as well call it November 2012. And until now, until recently, when I was asked out at a football game or a baseball game or some other event where somebody wanted to talk video software, editing software, I couldn't safely recommend any particular product without having some concern on what they might encounter until now. And that now is Magic's Movie Edit Pro 2013, or depending on when you watch this or listen to it, whatever their latest and greatest is. Magic's. It is, I believe, a German-developed product. It's the safest bet, and it has a fantastic GUI, graphical user interface. It's very well laid out, very intuitive, easy to use, and very powerful from what I've seen so far. It is not a memory hog. Is it the best application out there? Probably not. My personal preference is Adobe Premiere. Both the Premiere Elements, which is the kind of the consumer version, about $100, but Premiere Elements is a memory hog. You need tons of memory, and it doesn't get the greatest ratings out there. Personally, I think Adobe abandoned improving that consumer product, the Premiere Elements version. I love Adobe Premiere Pro CS5, but it's more expensive. I don't know what it runs today, $300, $400, $500, but a lot more expensive, a little more complicated for the beginner. I wouldn't recommend it to the beginner, but as you get more advanced, that certainly would be a program I would recommend that you'd want to look at for more advanced professional capabilities. Sony Vegas, I've had mixed success and failure with, but I've used Sony Vegas, I've used Pinnacle, I've used Corel, I've even used Movavi or Movavi, however you pronounce it. It's developed in Russia somewhere. I think it's safe to say, other than sometimes or at one time they were able to do some things that other applications couldn't do, it's basically a piece of crap. So Magix, right there, Movie Edit Pro. Let's go to the next slide. With Magix Movie Edit Pro, or any other software for that matter, the most basic thing you're going to do is import your digital video files off of your camera, your card, onto your computer, and then into the program. And the basic, easiest thing you're going to do is burn that raw footage, unedited footage, like a football game, onto a DVD without editing. So at the most basic level, that's the first thing you'd be able to do with this software. And speaking of DVDs, you will be able to create your own DVD menus, something very basic and easy, or something using custom graphics, moving footage, and very advanced DVD menus. You have a lot of options there, a lot of things to learn, but menu creation for your DVDs is another feature you'll use in this software. You will even have the option to burn to standard DVD in 720p high def as an example, or burn to Blu-ray disc as well if you're going to want to burn something in 1080p and watch it on your 1080p TV on Blu-ray. One of the next things you'll be able to do with the Magix Movie Edit Pro and other software out there is editing or custom editing the video as well as the audio. So a lot of times when I shoot a football game for coaches, I just burn the raw footage straight onto the DVD, unedited. I might put a menu on there for them, but just straight unedited. But then a lot of times I will do a highlight video for parents, for the kids, and that's where you'd want to do some custom edits. You know, take out all the bad plays, only select the highlight plays, do some nice transitions, some fades in and out, adjust the audio. You might even want to add a music track or a couple of 3 music tracks, depending on how long the highlight reel is. So those are the powerful things that you can do also with this software. Myself, I'm usually only burning DVDs during football season when I'm giving them to coaches or other parents or friends or players. But typically I am burning or exporting the edited product or edited video to a video file and store on my disk array or my hard drive. There are some features on this Magix software to go upload directly to the internet, Facebook, Vimeo, or YouTube. I never use that feature, although it's there. You can play around with it. I want to always export to a nice, clean video file held on my disk, protected, and then I can upload it and do whatever I want with it. But you've got a number of options here to export to different file types for different uses. Here are the supported operating systems, both 32-bit and 64-bit, as well as the recommended system requirements. I'm going to show you the minimum system requirements on the next slide, but I won't go over this in great detail other than mention a couple of things. So you may want to pause the video and take some notes on this recommended system that Magix has put out there on their website. You know, the graphics card is the only thing I'd give a caveat on. I love great graphics cards, but don't get too worked up about going out and spending a lot of money on that graphics card. Unless you're wanting to see very high quality playback on your monitor. That's not going to affect the end result you're going to get in your video file or DVD where you watch it on your big screen. But anyway, just take some notes there, but don't get too hung up on the card. I would highly recommend the more memory, the better, just so you have minimal problems. And they're recommending a quad core here. Let's go to the next slide for minimum requirements, and I think it's a dual core. I would certainly pay close attention to the minimum system requirements from Magix, and I would take that as a bare bones absolute minimum. I would try to get as close as you can to the recommended system requirements to minimize any potential problems. But bare minimum, pause this, take some notes. Don't go any less than this recommendation. And whether you go with a tower or desktop or a laptop, or you have something you think will work, you're going to want to make sure it has SD memory card slots. Those would typically be found in the front, on the side of a laptop, on the front of a laptop, typically on the front of a desktop or tower. Or you may not have them at all, but there are some other options. So let's take a look at that. You can always get an external SD card or memory card reader. Sometimes these will have more slots than just the SD card to use with other types of memory, but make sure it at least has an SD card slot. And typically these are connected via USB as an example. And here's one on Amazon. May, depending on when you watch this, may still be available or may be updated with the new model number. There's other options out there as well. Just grab one and use an external one if you don't have one internally. I almost forgot about monitors, but let me cover monitors. I'm not going to give you a size recommendation. Personally, I like to use 22-inch Samsung monitors, but you know, if you've got a 19-inch or even smaller, I'm not going to tell you that's not going to work. But you know, the bigger the better when you get a lot of video timelines and files laid out there. Some people even use a dual monitor option, especially if you're doing a lot of advanced video editing. I have used that in the past. I don't find it all that helpful for what I do, but you may want to get fancy someday and use a dual monitor option. But anyway, just make sure you have a decent monitor. Also, DVD burners. You may have a DVD player on your PC or laptop, but make sure you have a DVD burner or it has DVD burning capabilities. Again, externally, if it doesn't, you have some external connect options for DVD burners, and the pricing is very reasonable. So there's a couple of options there, but you may find one in your local store for better price or better performance. So you're going to need that to burn DVDs. An invaluable piece of software you're going to want to use is called TeraCopy. TeraCopy Pro costs a few bucks, maybe 10, but TeraCopy, just the standard TeraCopy, is free. You can find it if you just Google TeraCopy. It's made by a company called Code Sector. I think you can see the web address there up in the bar. But just do a Google, and you're going to really find this useful and helpful in managing and moving around files off your memory card to your hard drive and more. Where I use this the most is on getting data, video files off the SD card that came out of your camera onto your PC. So TeraCopy comes in handy when you highlight those files on the SD card. You select with a right click TeraCopy from the options, and then you would have the option to either copy those files to an exact location on your hard drive or elsewhere, or move them off of your card or from wherever that location is to that other location. I like to use the move option so I know that those huge video files are coming off my memory card, so I don't get to my next event, go to video, and it says card full. So you have those options. I know some of you are thinking, well, you can just do the right-click, copy, and paste those files, and that's true. But TeraCopy takes it several steps further. They have some advanced features that are awesome. that you'll just have to see it to believe it. It's truly a very useful tool that'll come in handy time and time again. IrfanView is another free application that you're definitely going to want to use. It is truly incredible. I've been using it for a number of years. It is an image viewer, converter, editor. I use this even though I have Photoshop and other applications. I turn to IrfanView over and over again for just about everything on images and editing and doing fun things. It was developed by a guy named IrfanSkiljhan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Software developer out in Bosnia. And it's been around a long time, and he has a huge following, and it's very powerful. So just download it, and you will put it to use, and I will show you how in the tutorials you'll see on the PIXELSPINACH.com website. DVDs. If you're going to be burning to DVDs, you need to buy some blank recordable DVDs. I buy mine 100 at a time personally, but I burn a lot for coaches and players, especially during football season. I don't know exactly why, and I won't get into the technical of it, but in my experience, DVD minus R, I have had literally zero issues with that type of DVD. People call them making coasters. That means when you have a DVD burn go bad, the only thing that thing is good for is a coaster. I've never made any coasters with DVD minus R. I have ventured out. Amazon Basics is one because the price was nice, and bought DVD plus R. I don't know the difference technically. You can look it up. Somebody else can tell you. But I have had issues with DVD plus R. So my recommendation, DVD minus R. I like to use the Inkjet printable DVDs. Now, I have used Inkjet printers before, even some of the fancier printers for DVDs. But the thing I like about this the most is my favorite way to label DVDs now is using markers. So you could take a black Sharpie, any colored Sharpie, and just write straight onto the cover of the DVD because it has that nice white inkjet printable cover. Most of the DVDs that I burn, the people don't give a hoot about what's on there, whether it's a nice image or photograph. They just want it labeled. What game is this? What's the date? Is this the 7th grade or 8th grade? What have you. So I use this most of the time and find it very handy. But the inkjet printable, of course, you can go out and find a fancy inkjet printer or even get more advanced in the different type of thermal labelers and put that to the test. Along those same economical and simple lines, over the years I've tried different paper cases, plastic cases, but when I start really burning out some bulk DVDs for the team, I have found that good old-fashioned brown paper lunch sacks that you can buy very cheaply just about anywhere are the greatest. You stick 1 or 10 or more DVDs. So that's pretty much it for all of the basic hardware and software items that you'll want to have on hand to be operational for the video editing and processing. And just like the other two starter presentations, there is a buyer's guide that goes along with this starter presentation that actually gives you model numbers, links to places to buy them, and some other information. So you can download that, print it, take a look at it, but they're available on PIXELSPINACH.com. Thanks for joining us. Be sure and watch part 3 on data management and backup, and we'll see you down the road. Take care.